I don't want to talk about Mohammed Ben Sulayem anymore. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to. Yeah, he makes good content. Of course he does, and gives me a reason, a wherefore to go scorched earth each and every single time. But I desperately don't want to. I would love a utopian F1, a world in which we could all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, celebrate the effectiveness with which they operate. Do you know what I mean? Why can't we just live in a world where they institute for the rules in a way that's true and fair and representative, where everything that comes out of Mohammed Ben Sulayem's mouth is set fair and he backs it up as you'd expect an FIA president to do with action? Whatever happened to that, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury? Jean Todt settings, some would say. No, not this chap. Not this chap. Let me remind you about what I am talking. He, in the first instance, has sacked off a gazillion people, that he's hired all of them. Shayla and Rao, Wittich gone, Richards gone, Reed gone. So why on earth is he still there, chat? Well, of course, it's a non-rhetorical question. The answer to that is multifaceted. We can talk about financial resources, the way that the FIA is set up, the way that small federations have the same vote as big ones. This isn't proportional representation. Therefore, in all likelihood, in December, he will get in again and again, unopposed potentially, notwithstanding Carlos Sainz Senior's desires to run. But listen, it's set up to fail. This is Mohammed bin Sulayem's show now. You see that he's gotten rid of the bloody audit committee, 2 or 4 of them. What are we doing there for? How? What? The audit committee, look, he ran on robust governance. So why then would he get rid of the audit committee unless he wants to run the FIA as a totalitarian organisation? Non-rhetorical question for which I do not know the answer. Now we get news today that he sacked somebody else. I mean, what else would you expect from this fella at this point? It makes no sense. It's financial resource. He runs it as his own show. This isn't the FIA. No longer is it the governing body of Formula One, the one that F's, of course. No, this is MBS's show. Lest we forget, once upon a time, he ran on a couple different things, didn't he, in 2022? Again, one of his principal mandates was transparency, robust governance too. But his words, not mine, diversity and inclusion are key priorities of my mandate. Listen, let me tell you, I cannot, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury. I can't. My blood pressure is too high already. What is he talking about? How very dare he utter those words, transparency, diversity and inclusion, because his reign has been characterised by anything but. That's the opposite. Don't believe me? Where you saw him pointing the finger of culpability at Susie Wolff, notwithstanding the fact that he didn't have evidence of this conflict of interest infringing upon it. You've heard him talk about we are not rappers. You've heard him in public spaces, social media, talking about bloody, I don't like women that say they're more intelligent than men. What are you talking about? As if that somehow is a non sequitur, something that can't even happen. This is the dude. This is your champion, F1. This is the dude that you want to preside over the governing body, regulatory body. Like, what do we do? You just can't. Honestly, you can't. And then today you get what I shouldn't be surprised, right? Colour me stupid ever so slightly. Again, if past his prologue, there are going to be more and more of these. The dude is an attention seeker, jewelry gate, need we continue, taking bloody excessive penalties for expletives, putting them in his FIA presidential coffers so that he can travel around the world and expense it to the FIA on his private jet. No, we shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. Like, calling me naive, but then you hear this and you're like, bloody Nora. Like, I'm wanting to be put off of F1. He puts me off. He leaves a very bad taste in my mouth, quite literally. Here's the news. Andrew Benson writes that somebody's been sacked. FIA sacked the head of inclusion and diversity in a restructure. What? Mohammed Ben Sulayem said, I'm going to read it out. Diversity and inclusion is a key priority of my mandate. So then, look, if actions are meant to stack up to words, why is he sacked the head of inclusion and diversity? What? It's as if his words exist in a space and his actions are mutually exclusive. Never the twine will meet. Do you know what I mean? The interlocking section of this Venn diagram for an FIA organisation that are meant to show and prove, deliver upon promises, it just doesn't. It's nonsense for the FI. This Mohammed bin Sulayem fella. What is the honestly? This makes no sense. Andrew Benson writes, F1's governing body, the FIA, has sacked the latest in a series of senior figures after eradicating the role of head of sustainability, diversity and inclusion. Of course. What else would you expect at this stage in Mohammed bin Sulayem's tenure of tyranny? So Sarah Mariani even wrote a note that appeared to be critical. So that was the head of sustainability, diversity and inclusion. I can't even talk. So angry and scorched earth for my... Sarah Mariani wrote a note that appeared to be critical of the body's leadership as she left the FIA on Wednesday. Well, of course she's going to be critical. Who at this stage, it's quicker to go through the number of people who haven't been critical. It's a list of nil. Robin Reed's come out and smashed them. Dave Richards threatening legal action. Ollie Oakes and High Tech already in arbitration, about to get a decent side settlement. Susie Wolf, criminal action in French courts for defaming her name. Who's not got legal action against the FIA? Meant to be this beacon of robust governance. They have been anything but. Now, I know some people say, Cameron, wind your net back in. The FIA have always been this. Even under Jean Todt, they called them the FIA, Ferrari International Assistance. Balestre, no better. But bloody Nora, chat, we're in 2025 now. What's the point of having a governing body that does not know nor wish to govern in a way that's set fair? What's the point? It makes no sense. Sarah Mariani, I'm going to get her name right one of these times, wrote a note that appeared to be critical of the body's leadership, and as well she might. Mariani, who had been head of sustainability, diversity and inclusion for just 18 months, and they always leave so quickly, chat. They leave so bloody quickly. Such a rate of churn has got to tell you something about the state of the body's leadership. It has to. A fish, some say, stinks from the head down. Mariani wrote on her email out of office, there is imagine she wrote it on her email out of office, chat. What could you be? Could you do more of an FU as you were leaving, going out the door? What are we doing here? On her out of office, she said, there is life outside the FIA, a life where talent and dedication are rewarded, where women in leadership positions can thrive, feel valued and respected. Way to stick two fingers up at the FIA president. What are we doing here? If that's how she felt, that surely you've got to ask questions in a world that's meant to be more diverse. For a dude who ran on diversity and inclusion, equity, sustainability, and you have employees leaving with that sort of message, surely this isn't right. Surely we got to do so. We can't live in a world where this sort of stuff is going on in Formula One, surely. Her role, continues Benson of F1, was removed as part of an internal restructure that split her responsibilities across two separate divisions. I mean, it's a footnote, isn't it? It merely a footnote at this stage, and I'm done with this chap. She added in a note, sadly, it's time to say goodbye. I loved the ride. I enjoyed every minute of it. Well, clearly you didn't, love, because MBS made your life a living hell. This is nonsense. I've had enough of Mohammed bin Sulayem and the FIA. As if I ought. Let me end my soliloquy with this. I wouldn't mind all of the attention seeking, all of the keying with the drivers after they win a race, as if he had been racing with them. I wouldn't mind for some of the chat and bluster for that. I'd be able to forgive all of that if Mohammed bin Sulayem, like Bill Belichick, was doing his job. He's the rule maker. He's meant to institute and govern in a way that's true, set fair across all related parties in Formula One. I'm talking about the drivers, the team principals, the engineers, the pit crew, all of the aforementioned. Tenure to date, he's done nothing if not the opposite. Transparency that he talks about, Gonzo, Fugazi, the stuff of myth and legend, diversity and inclusion. Well, Susie Wolf, you see the way he treated her, you hear the way he talks about rappers and all of this nonsense. So everything that dude has said, he has done the opposite thus far, tenure to date. What, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, are we doing here?